And welcome everybody to episode 3 of the Basket Cases podcast. Thank you for listening. I'm your host, Kevin Henderson, and with me, as always, is my sidekick, Zach Bozeman. Say what's up, Zach.
What's up? Episode 3. Ready to be here, ready to do this right now.
Here we are, live and direct, except not live for you because it's a podcast. You can listen whenever you want. But thanks for bringing us with you, wherever you may be.
Yeah.
If you're jogging or in the car or, watering the lawn.
Brushing your hair.
Could be doing a million things. But yeah, thanks for listening. It means a lot to me because we're trying to build this thing up. We'd appreciate if you told your friends, tell your neighbor, the big sports fan.
Preferably sports fans.
Yeah, or, just fans of our goofy shenanigans or whatever we do on
Not
this
them.
thing.
You don't tell them.
But yeah, hopefully we start to build our own little community here where people can have fun every week, debate the issues of the week, and talk some sports, and maybe enjoy an opinion or two or disagree with an opinion or two. And
a little philosophy.
Exactly. So without further ado, let's get to it. We got a lot to get to today. We got some NBA, NFL, big UFC fight over the weekend. Ronda Rousey went down. And we got some big stories from the week in sports, including Greg Hardy's girlfriend's beaten, remained photos showing up on a Deadspin. And that's a sad story. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about Bob Iger, the lead guy over at Disney, trying to getting involved in bringing the NFL to Los Angeles. We got lots of stuff to talk about. So if you hear anything that, makes you want to contact the show or ask a question or just spit an opinion at me, bring it on. Hit us up on email at basketcasesla@basketcasespodcast.com, or you can tweet us at basketcasesla, or we have Facebook and all that other good stuff. And if you like the show, please leave us a review on iTunes or anywhere you can.
And if you don't like the show, tell us too.
Do that too, but be gentle. Be gentle. All right, so the Lakers, they just finally got their first victory at home of the season.
Yay.
And
glorious.
It was glorious. No, it was actually not glorious at all. It was one of the ugliest games of the year. Lakers won 97-85 over the Detroit Pistons. Both in a night where both teams shot like in the 30s percentage-wise from the field. There was delay of game calls on both teams. 5-second violation on the inbounds was even called. I felt like just a million missed layups. And it was just an ugly game, but the Lakers did ultimately get the W, mostly on the shoulders of Kobe, who, again, struggled from the field. Hit finally one big three-pointer at the end, towards, in the fourth quarter, which he hasn't really been playing his best basketball in the fourth quarters lately because he doesn't have the legs, seemingly. But I still just, real quick, we're not going to talk quite as much Lakers today because we just have so much to get to. But Kobe played 35 minutes. After the game, Byron Scott and Kobe were talking about how they kind of decided mid-game that's most likely he's not going to play tomorrow night on the back-to-back against Phoenix. And I still don't really like the idea of Kobe playing that many minutes, regardless of if he's playing the next day. You know what I mean, man? It's like, why? What's the point? Why is I get the idea of wanting, to Kobe to have a few good moments in his last season and, just kind of be the man because he's always been the man. But in the interest of the team, I want to see the Clarkson-Randall show. I just want those two guys being carrying the load of the offense. Kobe, not only did he play 35 minutes, he ran everything. He had 9 assists tonight, finished with 17 points. He was plus 14. Like I said, he ran the show and the Lakers got a W. So, he has a nice plus minus on the stat sheet. But one thing I don't like is Jordan Clarkson shooting 50% from the field. Shot 5 for 10. Didn't even play a whole 30 minutes. Had 17 points, 3 assists. I'd like to see him asserting himself more and getting more minutes and them running more of the offense through the young guy who can really get into the paint and create havoc and continues to get better. Seemingly every time he gets his hands on the ball, you can see Jordan Clarkson just improve. Like you saw all at the end of last season. Jordan Clarkson just kept getting better every game. And so I'd like to see more of that. I'd like to see more Julius Randle. D'Angelo Russell only played 20 minutes, But that's another interesting topic we should get to real quick on the Lakers before we move on. It came out earlier this week. I forget the show, maybe Pardon the Interruption or something, but it was Michael Wilbon. I don't know those shows. I don't watch them. I'm working. But it was Michael Wilbon who said it, who said that what he hears is D'Angelo Russell has gone Hollywood. Whatever that means.
It's the eyebrow and the earrings and the hair and the attitude. I don't know.
Who knows? He's dating one of the, I don't know, one of the Jenners or something, Kylie or Kira. I don't know.
Why?
You know, because they're the same age, and I guess, you know, whatever. Who cares why? He just is. So you know, there's people that don't, you know, they think that is a bad thing or a good thing. I don't really know. I don't know what going Hollywood necessarily means. But if it means that he's not putting in the effort and not giving his best to the team, and then that's what I'm concerned with, because that might be why Byron is limiting his minutes so much.
Right.
Maybe, like Wilbon was saying, the kid needs pine time. He needs to be sitting on the bench and just, you know, realizing, hey, kid, you're not ready for this yet.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's true. I don't want to assume things. I'm just saying somebody else said it. It's an issue. It's worth discussing. I think it's a concern. I don't get that. I mean, you know, Jordan Clarkson's got a supermodel girlfriend too. You know, I think that's how D'Angelo. Who cares how, what, why, whatever. But nobody's questioning Jordan Clarkson's work ethic and his effort as far as film or practice or working on his game. So it's just something to talk about. I know a lot of people are frustrated with D'Angelo Russell. I think he's got a lot of potential.
He's 19.
He's 19.
It's like, what can you do?
Yeah, he's not like Kobe, who spent, you know, his last game at the Garden chasing Carmelo Anthony around and then, you know, couldn't walk for like a couple days afterwards. And then when he finally can come back, he plays 35 minutes just because there's a back-to-back tomorrow night. It's like, just, I don't know. I just want to see, if we're going to transition this team over, we should start transitioning this team over.
I agree.
Moving on to the young kids. That's all the Lakers we're going to talk. Let's move on. I could follow a few teams this week. I followed a little bit of the Clippers. I thought it was interesting, the Chandler Parsons comments about DeAndre Jordan when the Clippers played the Mavericks last week. He said he's not Chandler Parsons said about DeAndre, he's not a priority to us, and by the looks of their team, he's not a priority of theirs either. So I thought that was pretty funny. It's just like, let it go, get over it. He's not on your team. You don't care. You whatever. But the Clippers, they're basically just riding the coattails of Blake Griffin right now. Chris Paul's got a groin injury. JJ Redick's out with back spasms. So they're an interesting team. The one thing I worry about with them is just their three-point shooting. And if, you know, Lance Stevenson's going to fit in with them, and if Paul Pierce is going to be able to be that guy off the bench. Oh, by the way, I want to make a correction. I was talking to somebody today, and they brought to my attention that Paul Pierce did not come off the bench last year. But I was right about his minutes, though. He did play like 26 minutes a game. But, yeah, he started. But I still think Kobe doesn't need to necessarily start. I think he doesn't need to be the guy playing all the minutes. Now, I know that's never going to happen. I know he's going to start. He's Kobe. But just limit the minutes. Bring it down to, you know, 26, 28, not 35. I don't care if there's a back-to-back, you know?
Yeah, for sure, man.
So the Clippers, they're just kind of treading water, waiting for their guys to come back. Blake Griffin's being a monster. They need more three-point shooting. Westbrook is also doing the same thing, just trying his best to keep the team afloat with Durant out with his strained hamstring. It was like 7 to 10 days when the initial diagnosis happened, so maybe next week we'll hear something on Kevin Durant. But Westbrook had a couple triple-doubles. I'm still following Sacramento because, you know, they play at times so I can watch most of the time. Cousins had 40 points versus the Nets the other night. Rondo had 3 triple-doubles last week. So those two guys are, you know, they have flashes of showing how talented they are, but they definitely, you know, are struggling finishing games, and their record's not great. But they're fun. They're fun to watch just because it's nice to see Rondo playing ball, and Boogie Cousins is just a baller. And, you know, he plays with so much emotion, man. He just gets so fired up. Went to a concert the other night, and I was talking to a big Knicks fan, so I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Porzingis. He's been fun to watch. He almost had a big buzzer beater the other night, but it was just a fraction of a second late. But he can get that shot off against anybody. He's tall. He's got a little competitive spark. He's fun to watch. I think Porzingis. I think they got a nice cornerstone in New York now, and the Knicks fans like him, so that's cool. Just real quick, just to talk a little bit of Eastern Conference stuff, just briefly, because the East is just not as interesting personally to me. But the Pistons are interesting because they played the Clippers and the Lakers over the weekend, so I got to see them. I thought an interesting stat was that Andre Drummond was the first player with 150 points and rebounds in the first 8 games of the season since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar in 75-76. So that's a pretty darn impressive stat. Obviously, I don't necessarily think he's going to hold up for the rest of the games of the 82, but for first 8, that was pretty good. And the Pistons are waiting for Jennings and Meeks to come back. I know that Reggie Jackson didn't have the best game tonight against the Lakers. His backup, what was his name? Dinwiddie or whatever. Dinwiddie. He had a big game. So Reggie Jackson didn't have a whole lot of minutes tonight, but he's been balling. So the Pistons are, a team with a little bit of promise. If they get Jennings and Meeks back, that'll get them some playmaking and some shooting. And then the Cavs, Kyrie Irving is, I think I saw a report he's got weight-bearing activities are now, he's not he's not limited by those now. He can do weight-bearing activities and just full contact. So within a week or two, he should be back, and that'll be a nice boost for the entertainment value of that team on the floor. Cavs played a pretty darn interesting game against Milwaukee on Saturday night. Milwaukee won, but the Cavs will be just fine. But it was an overtime game. It's funny, you watch the Cavs and you could just kind of see they were trailing the whole game, but it's like they're toying with Milwaukee almost. It's funny. It's like kind of like when you watch the Warriors, like they have like a next gear where they could just put their foot down on the pedal and just floor it and just stomp all over you. So
they go to 11.
This team goes to 11. What else in the NBA? Yeah, so speaking of the Warriors, they struggled with the Nets similarly. A team that's not a juggernaut by any stretch, but they played a very tough game against the Warriors. They beat the Warriors last year. Jarrett Jack, the point guard for the Nets, going against his former team, you can tell he likes playing against his former team. He likes playing in that building, so he's comfortable out there. But the Warriors still won. They prevailed in overtime. And we got a good week of NBA ahead, and so that's all my NBA stuff for the week. We're going to keep it moving here.
Little NFL.
Some NFL action. So, big week in the NFL yet again. Some big notes from the week. Andrew Luck, Colts quarterback, he's out with a lacerated kidney and torn abdominals. And, that was revealed during, I think, it's a bye week right now. They didn't play today. So, I think that's why they were finally willing to reveal what was wrong with him be a little more transparent, because now he had a little bit of time to rest. So hopefully he gets better. He's struggling, getting destroyed by lack of protection by his offensive line and whatnot. So you root for him to have a better second half of the season. But Cardinals and the Seahawks were the big matchup this weekend on Sunday Night Football. The Cardinals won in Seattle 39-32. They got a pretty strong lead, a 3-game lead in the division against the 4-5 Seahawks in the NFC West. Let's see. I want to get back to something with that game, but real quick, let's just run down the rest of the games. Patriots-Giants was a really good football game. Patriots, they got it done again. They held on. Don't give Tom Brady any time, man. The Giants had that chance to pick off. He dropped the interception on the final drive there too, and just give Tom Brady too many chances, just enough time, he's gonna just burn you. So Patriots beat the Giants 27-26, but it wasn't without a loss. Julian Edelman did break his foot, and he's got surgery scheduled for tomorrow or Monday. Whenever you listen to this, Monday is when the surgery is scheduled for. Cowboys are pretty much done. They lost to the Buccaneers 10-6, and was a game that I can only imagine was just not very entertaining. It was on in the background, but not a whole lot to look at. But the NFC East is still wide open. The Panthers made it to 9-0 with a 27-10 victory over the Titans. Dolphins edged the Eagles 2019, but like I said, Eagles fans, you're okay. You're tied with Washington at 4-5 in the division, and with that Giants loss to the Patriots, they fell to 5-5. So that division's open. The Lions and the Packers. The Packers have lost 3 games in a row. They lost 18-16 in a wild one. That's the first 3 consecutive losses since 2008 for the Packers. First time they've had 3 consecutive losses. So they're trying to figure it out, having a little mid-season struggles. The Vikings have snuck up on everybody. They're 7-2. They beat the Raiders 20-14. They overtook the Packers for NFC North lead. So Adrian Peterson had a touchdown, a big run. And the Chiefs beat the Broncos 29-13. I heard that, Tony Dungy and the guys on Football Night in America saying that it was tough to watch Peyton Manning just struggle to hit targets and just doesn't look like himself. And they said Tony Dungy, the biggest Peyton Manning fan of all, said he wouldn't start Peyton next week. So that'll be interesting to look forward to see what happens next week as far as that goes.
Dungy says.
Yeah. And then we got Texans and Bengals tomorrow night on Monday Night Football. And the Cincinnati's looking to go 9-0 on the season. But real quick, like I said, I wanted to get back to that Cardinals-Seahawks game. I was thinking the whole game, and I've noticed throughout the course of Sunday Night Football this season, Al Michaels and Chris Collinsworth are continuing to just complain that they don't understand the rules anymore. They don't know what a catch is. They don't know, they're offsides, holding, whatever. Just so many plays that are just so unclear right now. And I have a coworker, and she always tells me, I just don't understand the rules of football. And I was like, what could we? I just thought of a couple of things that were, man, that was a pop on the mic. Sorry about that. I just thought of a couple of things that might make the game a little faster, and I wanted to hear what you guys thought about it. I acknowledge it might change the game up a little bit, and I know the NFL's philosophy is just, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. NFL's king. They make all the money. They don't really need to do anything. But as a viewer, especially as a basketball fan who feels like NFL, it's just a lot of waiting for the next play. A lot of commercials, a lot of replays, a lot of timeouts, a lot of penalties. Yeah. So anyway, I thought of a couple solutions. I thought of 2 of them, actually. One of them was for offsides or encroachment or false start, all the different types of penalties and violations you could have just on the line of scrimmage before the ball is snapped. I was just thinking, you know what? Instead of having a different type of penalty or a different rule for whether or not you've broken the plane of the neutral zone or whatever the case, why don't they just get rid of penalties altogether in that scenario? If the defense crosses the line, if the offense crosses the line, if somebody flinches, just blow the whistle, start the play over again.
I like it.
Just start the play.
Save a lot of time.
It's gonna think about it, dude. Every single time somebody flinches, they got to stop. They got to throw a flag. They got to move the chains. It's like chains. It's just like, why don't you just wait for the ball to be snapped and then play football? Just no infraction, no nothing on either side because nobody stands to gain anything. Just the play starts over if anybody screws up and crosses the line. Now the only thing it's gonna do is it's gonna take away all those 5-yard penalties that guys like Peyton Manning or Andrew Luck like to draw, or Aaron Rodgers like to draw out their snap count and things like that, which obviously they would hate me for saying this because they love that little advantage that they have on the defense sometimes when they can get somebody to bite on a call. Uh-huh. But I just, who cares about what the quarterbacks want in that situation? This is something that could cut time off the game. I think it'd be awesome. Second thing I thought of was just get rid of the freaking kickoffs. I'm tired of watching kickoffs all the time when they moved up the spot where you kick the ball off from. So the only reason there was a lot of returns tonight in the Seahawks-Cardinals game is because of the weather. I can imagine there was a lot of bad kicks. But for the most part, everybody knows, a team scores or whatever, they go to kick, and then they go to the commercial. Then they go to kick the ball off. They kick the ball off. It goes to the back of the end zone. Then they go to commercial. Then they come back from commercial again, and then they finally play football again. It's like, if you want to get rid of concussions, then why do you even kick the ball at all? Like, it's just, it's just such a half-hearted way to do something. It's like, if you really don't want the collisions and the big, fast-paced plays, then just get rid of the kickoff altogether. Then nobody brings the ball back anymore anyway. It's just, a time killer.
Right.
So
yeah, I don't have much to add to that. I just agree completely.
Well, cool. I'm glad you. I mean, maybe I'm sure there's people that listening that might disagree, but I don't know. Let me know what you think. But I just feel like I agree with those guys. Like, who knows what a catch is? Who knows what a penalty is? Who knows what contact is or isn't allowed? Just, it's frustrating, and all the penalties drive me nuts. I love football though. I really do, but I'm just saying, move it along. Move it along, Junior. Finally, sports-wise, with the day-to-day games and whatnot, I want to talk about the big UFC fight that happened last night.
Ew.
Ronda Rousey fought Holly Holm for the I think bantamweight. I don't know what weight she is. I don't know the weight classes.
Badass weight.
Yeah, the weight of the most badass woman on the planet weight, because that's what Ronda has been up until last night, when Holly Holm knocked her out. She kicked her in the side of the head, and then she went to pounce on her, and then she got pulled off. And so, if you've watched Ronda fight before, you may or may not have been surprised. You know, Ronda has a lot of mystique about her because she's just been so dominant lately. Undefeated up until last night. Taking the world by storm. You know, cameos and movies and, you know, all over ESPN. And she's a big deal. And she's a big role model to a lot of girls. And she's definitely not bashful. And I think she's badass, and it's awesome. But if you've seen her fight before, you know that as amazing as her ability is to impose her will, she does not have a great stand-up game. You know, she
all about the takedown.
Yeah, she's all about the takedown and the armbar. And in her fights against Miesha Tate, in the past, I felt like Miesha, if she would have been willing to not go on the ground and try to beat Ronda at Ronda's own game, but if she instead would have just stayed on her feet, she could have knocked Ronda out. And Ronda, you know, it revealed a lot to me in the weigh-in on, I guess it was Friday. At the weigh-in between Ronda and Holly Holm, they both weighed in, and then Holly they put their fists up to do the standoff, the face-off, and Holly just barely caressed Ronda's cheek with her fist, you know, just barely touched her, and Ronda freaked out. And before this, all the lead up to this fight, there's been like no animosity or trash talk or anything, which is unusual for a Ronda fight. But she was being, and on top of that, she was being extremely respectful, even like going out of her way to say this is going to be a challenge and all that type of stuff. I think she knew that she was in for a nightmare with Holly because she's such a good boxer and striker and kicker that she needed something to try to get an emotional, you know,
get her jacked up.
Yeah, get her jacked up for the fight. Besides just trying to be nice and you know, gushy and, you know, all sweet and respectful before a fight. She wanted to go out there and brawl because she knew that was probably her only chance because she was so outclassed and just at such a disadvantage as far as striking goes. And Holly Holm's takedown defense is incredible. I think Ronda might have gotten one takedown as I recall, but Holly Holm, you know, got it right up. The fight didn't remain on the ground though. They got right back up, and they just brawled. And Holly had it wasn't really they brawled. It was really just Holly just beat Ronda down.
Yep.
So
kicked in the face.
Yeah. So that was a.
We knew this day would come.
Yeah, I mean, it was entertaining for sure. I mean, I'd like the rematch is going to be like the biggest fight in UFC history, probably.
Real.
It's going to be huge, man, because Ronda's going to go work on her stand-up game, and she's going to learn how to strike and box and kick. And then Holly's going to probably, I mean, she's so tough. She's probably going to be able to hang on to her belt for a minute if she has to fight. I mean, I would imagine she'll just have to, you know, go against Ronda next.
5,
we'll see.
4, 3,
It's halftime.
2,
Halftime.
1.
Yo, it's halftime. Well, everybody, it's halftime.
Halftime.
If you've never heard the show before, halftime is a recurring segment. It happens at the 24-minute mark, like a basketball game. Halftime doesn't mean our show is always going to be 48 minutes or whatever, because you know we're not that structured. It's just a cute little thing, so deal with it.
The show could be any kind of minutes.
That's right. So anyway, I had a 3-day weekend. How was your weekend, man?
Ooh, good weekend, man.
Yeah.
Played a show at St. Rock in Hermosa Beach
Cool venue.
with a band.
Sweet. Which band was that?
It's Kira and the Hollow Legs. Check out Kira Lingman. She's very talented.
Yes, the beautiful Kira. Check it out. She's got an incredible voice, good songs.
KiraLingman.com.
There you go. Shout out to Kira.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. So the show was good. Your weekend was good.
Yeah, man. How was yours?
Dude,
how was your weekend?
It was good, man. Worked on the show as usual. It's like the new routine now. Working on the show.
That's right.
Worked on a lot of music. It was pretty low key. Had a friend's birthday today. So went to a party like in Santa Monica. Went out, had brunch, and watched football and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
It was
Sunday.
fun. Sunday, fun day, brunch day. And what else? That's about it. I mean, the only other thing I really had for halftime was just, I think would be, it wouldn't be good if we didn't discuss anything about it, was, just our hearts and thoughts out to the victims of all the tragedies in France. And it's real, it's going on, and it's sad. If you're completely out of tune and this show is the only thing that you listen to get in touch with the world, I guess we'll just tell you. France has closed their borders. ISIS took credit for the attacks that happened, I believe it was on Friday. There was 129 deaths, 352 people injured. They were planned attacks that occurred at a concert hall, a restaurant. There were a couple bombs that were set outside of a soccer game. There's a million ways to go with this, but I just want to keep it simple. Like, there's just no justification, no matter what, for just killing innocent people. I don't care what your belief or whatever is. Just, I'm tired of I don't like seeing just innocent people get slaughtered. I don't think anybody does, obviously, but I guess that's the reason why ISIS exists, because they do. But I just like to keep that in mind as, justice is sought. We don't need to go after innocent people either, just, attack rashly. But anyway, secondly, I just want to say that, like, it feels like that one thing I do kind of like is that anytime something like this that's horrible that happens, I like the way it just brings people together more. I feel like humanity always is going to win overall in situations like this. There's just, people are more alike than they are different, and I think, the internet and everything has shrunk the world, and it makes us realize how much more we have in common with each other.
It makes it feel like it's happening closer to you.
Totally, you feel things, and everything is right in front of you, and it's immediate. So anyway, like, I don't know, like, you think about 9/11, like, for me, like, I just think of two things. Like, obviously, it was probably like my first real awakening to like what terrorism was, and it was scary, and you think of all the horrible images, and it was a terrible time. But then the only other thing that really pops in my mind is just how quickly everybody was to help each other, and how, like, everybody, tried to recover together, and, like, being patriotic was like a cool, good thing, as opposed to just, it's hard because sometimes, there's politics and all that type of stuff get in the way. But when things like this happen, it's nice when just like the human condition, just like people being people, kicks in.
Yeah, putting all the crap aside and just really coming together, not about being Democrat or Republican.
Totally.
Or agreeing about gay marriage or whatever. It's just the fact that this is wrong for humanity, and it's a shame that that's what has to bring people together. But
it is.
I think it's just because people don't treat each other well. So
yeah, I mean, most of the time we just bitch at each other about like petty things that are offensive on Facebook.
Yeah,
and it's like, that's what sucks about internet culture. But like I said, technology and internet, it has shrunk the world, and it's cool if you go on Twitter and you see things like, different monuments and landmarks of famous cities across the globe are, lighting up for France with their colors and things like that, and they're playing the French anthem at the Lakers game and other games across sports.
Yeah. Raising awareness about what happened, and that it could happen. I mean, anywhere.
It could happen anywhere, and it's going to continue to happen. I mean, somebody's got to stop these guys. I mean, I don't know how or when or why. I mean, I don't know how it's going to happen, but I know why. They got to stop. But anyway, trying to find the light in the dark, and hope
Yeah.
Hopefully, people stay together, and we shall.
We shall.
Anyway, that was a halftime.
Yeah.
Halftime. Yeah.
That's halftime. That was halftime?
That was halftime. You got anything else you got to get off your chest for halftime? Nothing to get off your chest. Your chest is free of stuff.
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
I'd say pretty much at the moment.
All right. Well,
I mean, I wish they would stop updating and changing the iTunes, but I mean, that's not really like relevant right now. I mean,
I'm with you on that.
Maybe
though.
it always is because it is.
It's always relevant because everybody has iTunes and everybody knows that the new one sucks. Like,
Yeah.
what the hell? Why do they keep changing it? It used to work like when it came out. All right, so anyway, let's move on. Got a few stories we wanted to get to, as we mentioned. But let's start it off with the one that affects Los Angeles the most, the chances of the NFL coming to LA in the next year or two. I'll just read some highlights from this article. I forgot where I got it from. It was Meg James is the reporter. Anyway.
Meg James.
I'm just going to give you the highlights. I'm not, Anyway, it says the guy's name is Robert Iger or Bob Iger. He's going to step down as the chairman and chief executive of Walt Disney. And, everybody's wondering what's going to happen, what he's going to do next. And it appears he's trying to get involved with NFL football. It says that he's going to have an ownership stake in one of those franchises if this happens, most likely. And the big deal now is just a matter of trying to persuade NFL owners that the Raiders-Chargers plan is better than the St. Louis plan. So the Raiders and Chargers want to go to Carson, and St. Louis and their owner want to go to Inglewood, and they're kind of hard just doing it, like building everything and stuff. So we'll see. But anyway, Bob Iger, there's a quote in this article that from the director of the Sports Business Institute at the USC Marshall School of Business, and he said Iger would have not agreed to do this if he didn't think this involvement could help drag the proposal over the finish line. That was David Carter who said that. So that's interesting. So they're saying that this guy has got so much pull that he's not going to waste his time unless he knows he's going to make a difference and give it a real good chance.
Let's see if he delivers on that.
Yeah. And he's had an incredible success with Disney. He was, a big part of Disney acquiring Pixar, Toy Story and all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And Marvel Entertainment too.
Uh-huh.
And they're going to release the new Star Wars movie that's going to supposed to break all the box office records and stuff. So Disney's had a lot of success with him, steering the ship. And anyway, basically this guy, they credit him in the article basically for kind of taking like a legacy company and getting it back on track, which they say is really hard to do and something that's usually done by somebody who comes in from the outside. And this guy just worked his way up and was a boss.
Right on. Sounds promising.
So anyway, that's interesting. There's going to be some competition. Everybody, NFL wants to come to LA. Do you want the NFL to come to LA, Zach?
Why not? It's LA. Everything else is already going on. Let's just add NFL and just clog the 405 that much more. Ain't no thing.
Well,
I mean, I'm not, like I say, I can look sports fans. I personally am not a huge football fan.
right.
So I could care less if they come to LA, but I know a lot of people will be very happy. I wouldn't be unhappy. I said, it's LA. I'm surprised it's not here already.
Well, it has been here before, and the thing is, the NFL's been fine without LA, and I think LA has been fine without the NFL. Like, it's been a long time, but I think now that the NFL has gotten like to this mega level of just like they just print money.
Yeah.
I think they want to tap back into LA a little bit with all the people that are here.
Right. It's obviously a smart business move, and they're going to do it. So.
Yeah, I think one way or another, some
Yeah.
team will be here.
Yeah.
At least one team will be here.
They're not just going to talk about it and then, not do it.
Right. They're going to try because they want, one thing billionaires want is just more money.
Money ain't a thing.
So anyway, speaking of the NFL.
I'm not a billionaire, and I want more money.
Yeah, right. Speaking of the NFL, I think we mentioned Greg Hardy. This is just something, it's like a shame that we have to cover stuff like this. But at the same time, it's going on. And, I feel like the voice of, the people that are disgusted by this needs to be a little bit louder than the voice of the Cowboy fans who just want to watch this guy play football. And I understand the dynamic of wanting to cheer for a team that, you might not necessarily like the actions of all their players, but you still root for your team. But nonetheless, Greg Hardy, defensive end for the Cowboys, that's been published the photos of his girlfriend that were taken after he attacked her. There was bruising on her shoulder, neck, chin, feet. It looked like she'd just been battered. Yeah. And it's because she was just battered by an NFL player. Mm-hmm. So this guy's, basically he's just scum. He, his first public appearance when he came back, he said he wanted to come out guns blazing, and this is the guy who, threw his girlfriend onto a bed full of guns and, was threatening her. And then, had there was like 10 guns, authorities took from his house after that. And then he made comments about Tom Brady's wife and him wanting Tom Brady and Tom Brady's, wife's sister to come to the game and stuff like that. This guy is just completely out of touch, doesn't get it. And the NFL talks about Ray Rice when, Ray Rice punched his girlfriend in the face.
Right.
And they, barely gave him a very minuscule suspension. Then they, tried to go back and fix it. And then, when this stuff with Greg Hardy came out, they said, oh, we were determined to get it right this time. So they gave him 10 games. There's an appeal and went back down to 4 games. It's just like, you know what I mean? Like, I thought the biggest thing was, I read like one of the police reports just checking, into the details about all this. And in the report, his girlfriend said something like, nothing is going to happen to him anyway. Her name's Nicole Holder.
Keeping it real.
Yeah, you could tell like she just knows, and it's disgraceful. I mean, that's the only word I have for it. I love sports. I really do. I love sports. I think they're a great way to talk about people and life and just any issue. I think, sports it's just like a sitcom, you know what I mean? Like there's a situation that lines up with something in life all the time in sports, just like there are in sitcoms.
Yeah.
But where do we draw the line? I mean, is it that important that this guy gets if it was any other job, he wouldn't be able to get it. You know what I mean? If it was any other job, he would have significant, basically people just look at his resume and go, oh, that's nice, but you have markings on your record for, domestic violence and blah, 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 blah. You have guns and all this stuff. Yeah, we're not going to hire you. But people know he can play football.
Mm-hmm.
So because you get to, it's just, I don't know. Same thing with like college universities. It's just, just every university is like with football. It's just like, oh, you can play football, so you don't need the grades, but all the other kids need the grades to get to, to come
You can
here.
play football, so you can just avoid all of the responsibility and just be good and win.
That's one thing, and it's like, hey, football players, basketball players, but yeah, you know what? Look, you are special. You're genetically gifted. You're bigger, stronger, faster. Yeah, right. We'll give you a good for you.
You're special.
Yeah, you're special. But they're only as special as we, the fans and viewers and people willing to pay for this make them. So, I just feel like I just want to say that, screw this guy.
Screw Greg Hardy.
Yeah, screw Greg Hardy. And then, just by the way, just pathetic. Jerry Jones calls this guy a leader and says he earns it and, has the respect of all of his teammates. I mean, really? Do all of his teammates respect him? Really? Does Jerry Jones actually speak for his entire roster, 53-man roster? They all respect this guy who beats women? I don't respect guys who beat women. Do you?
Nope.
Those are the people that don't get my respect.
He's just BSing.
Yeah. So, but why is he why does he feel that he's got to, it's bad enough that he's got to sign the guy to his team, but then he's going to defend him and just like insult all of our intelligence and just decency as people?
I just think it's easier for him. Answer the question. Move
I think
on.
You're right. You just hit it on the head. I think it's just easier for Jerry Jones to just be like, oh, well, I think he's a good guy.
Moving on.
It's pathetic. So this guy just continues. He shows no remorse. Greg Hardy shows no remorse, and he suffers no consequence. So that's Greg Hardy, NFL.
Nice to be a millionaire.
Must be, right? You want to do some strictly hip hop for fun and then do the other 2 stories?
Hell yeah.
All right.
Lay it on me.
I got to, there it is. Strictly hip hop. Yeah. So, strictly hip hop, I made like a little game for you to play today, Zach.
Sweet.
So, it's from, I used some of these trivia facts from popcrush.com. It's like Jeopardy style and multiple choice at the same time. So I'm going to be like, I'm going to give you like an answer or like however it works, and then you just give me the guy's name. But you're going to have multiple choice options, so you guys will get it.
Cool,
so here we go. This rapper once, at the age of 12, shot his older drug-addicted brother over a stolen ring. Was it A, Lil Wayne, B, Jay-Z, C, Big L, or D, RZA?
I'm gonna say Lil Wayne, just because.
Why are you gonna say Lil Wayne? Oh yeah.
I don't know. Cause it's just. It's Ken Kniff from Connecticut. Ken Kniff did it. Just because I don't like Lil Wayne. Seems like something lame he would do.
All right. Well, guess what? No, it was Jay-Z.
Oh, it's Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 2. This rapper was replaced by Nas on Jennifer Lopez's 2002 single "Be All Right." Was it A, 50 Cent, B, Exhibit, C, Corrupt, or D, Mac 10?
Who was replaced?
Yeah, who was replaced by Nas?
Corrupt.
No, it was 50 Cent.
Okay.
Numero Trey. This MC nearly became partners with Eric B instead of Rakim. Was it A, Freddie Fox, B, Smooth B, C, J. Rue the Damager, or D, KRS-One?
Shit, man. Let's just say Freddie Fox, you said?
Yeah, that's one of them.
I'm gonna say Freddie Fox. No. Oh, sweet. God, I'm an idiot sometimes.
We'll give you lots of yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it was Freddie Fox.
Cool.
Numero cuatro. This rapper received his rap name from Chuck D of Public Enemy. Was it A, Big Daddy Kane, B, Q-Tip, C, Puff Daddy, or Diddy, but Puff Daddy at the time, or D, Busta Rhymes?
I'm gonna say Busta Rhymes. Yes.
Yeah, it was
Chuck
Busta.
D's the man.
It was Busta. And finally, for Strictly Hip Hop, this rapper was the first female solo rapper to go platinum.
Whoa.
Was it A, Lil Kim? She's fat. PH fat.
PH fat.
Was it B, Lauryn Hill? C, Missy Elliott? Or D, Da Brat?
It's gotta be Lauryn Hill. Fudge.
It was Da Brat, believe
Whatever.
it or not. So
Well,
anyway,
it should have been Lauryn Hill.
that was like they just dropped a on you.
Oh yeah.
Because, yeah, it should have been Lauryn Hill. So anyway, that was Strictly Hip Hop. Thanks for playing, Zach.
That was fun.
Yeah, right?
I don't need to get them all to have fun.
Yeah, you've got me. You've got me.
Okay.
I could just give you hip hop games to play. Anyway, that was cool. So anyway, let's get back to another, the last couple of stories I wanted to talk about this week. Have you ever played the fantasy sports? The fantasy sports?
The fantasy sports? I heard of the fantasy sports.
You heard of them?
Heard of them?
All right, I'm not a fantasy sports guy.
Me neither.
I know like everybody else is, so that's one thing that I'm sorry, you're just gonna have to go somewhere else for. I'm not your fantasy guy. Maybe in the future if I can get like, you know, a guest on the show who knows their fantasy stuff. I mean, hey, if you're listening and you're an expert on this fantasy stuff, hey, you want to do a segment, let me know. But
have you made like $2 million? Then you can
if you made all the money on DraftKings, then
teach me how.
then you can come teach everybody. But anyway, I'm not into fantasy sports. However, you can't ignore them. They're humongous. It's I think I heard something that FanDuel and DraftKings combined have like spent the most money in advertising the last like year or two. Like, it's ridiculous. They're all over the place. But the big story this week was basically the New York Attorney General Eric Schneiderman trying to ban DraftKings and FanDuel from the state of New York. So I'll just kind of get into the article here from ESPN by Darren Ravel. Basically, Schneiderman thinks, he says he's basically saying his assertion is that fantasy is basically a game of chance and therefore it's gambling as opposed to a game of skill. And I'll get into, the other side of that in a second, but just to be up to date with the story, DraftKings and FanDuel have already filed like a counter lawsuit against in the New York, yeah, exactly. carrying his threat to ban daily fantasy games from New York State. So anyway, Schneiderman's assertion is that it was a game of chance and therefore illegal. He said that only a small percentage of people went. Oh, so anyway, DraftKings tried to respond, and in their petition, they said that actually only a small percentage of people win most of the money, which proves that it's a game of skill. 1.3% of all the players who played daily fantasy football games up until the All-Star break won 91% of the money. 1.3% won 91% of the money. So
sounds
I don't
like
think
skills to me.
Yeah, it sounds like skills to me too. Some people have a lot of time to study this stuff, and they make money off of it, and that's how they do it. But there's a couple other points about it too. FanDuel said that like their business doesn't constitute bookmaking because they don't stand a profit based on the results of the contests, or have any economic interest in one outcome over another, like a casino or a bookmaker would. I think they just make their money on like service charges and fees and stuff like that. So, it's just kind of interesting. Schneiderman said that DraftKings and FanDuel are operating illegal sports betting websites under New York law, causing the same kinds of social and economic harms as other forms of illegal gambling. As a result, our office issued a cease and desist letter to stop them from violating state law by accepting bets from people in New York. Because both companies have refused to follow the law in our state, we will take action to enforce state law.
Whatever.
People are allowed to do the lottery in New York, right? The lottery is pretty chance-based, but I have a feeling that they probably make some tax dollars off of that shit. So.
Oh, exactly. Exactly.
So, just kind of another one of the things where people try to keep everybody down. I think that here's the reality. People are going to bet or do fantasy no matter what. They're going to do it. They've done it throughout time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You tell people not to do something, it's almost like it just telling them to do it more.
Right.
People don't, and so it's just like if we're really talking about fantasy sports, social and economic harm, really, that's what you're worried about. That's what you're worried about. You got freaking terrorists killing people over in France, and you're worried about fantasy sports. I'm sorry, but somebody's not standing to make a buck, and they don't like it, and so they're throwing a fit about it.
Yeah, it's all about money.
It's all about the money.
Money ain't a thing.
It's always all about the money. Last story I wanted to talk about. Looks like we're getting right through everything, so we're gonna have time to play another game and stuff. That'll be sweet. Last thing, well, we'll see. Actually, it depends on how long this story takes. Is Missouri football? Not just Missouri, the Missouri campus. Was a big story at the end of the previous week and going into the beginning of last week and throughout last week. If you didn't hear about it, the Missouri football team joined in basically a weeks long protest movement that ultimately ousted the university president and school's chancellor at Missouri. It was basically over racial issues. A lot of the African American students, or black, I don't know why you always have to say that. I mean, people call us white guys. We're just people. Come on.
Right.
But anyway, they complained of mealy mouth response. That's how the article is written by Doug Chris on CNN here. Mealy mouth response by school leaders in dealing with racism on the overwhelmingly white Columbia campus. Black student leaders have conveyed their displeasure over students openly using racial slurs and other incidents. So anyway, last Monday, the school president, Tim Wolf, stepped down. And shortly thereafter, Chancellor R. Bowen Lofton stepped down as well. So the reason I'm bringing this up is not because I'm super interested in Missouri football, although I am super interested in the story because I think it's just absurd that people are having to deal with racial slurs on a school campus in 2015. But it's in Missouri, so I guess
right.
Consider the context and where you are in the world. But anyway, 30 black members of the Tigers football team declared in a tweet that they wouldn't play until Wolf was gone, and by Monday morning, student groups were calling for walkouts, and some faculty offered protesting students their support. And the calls for a resignation grew louder, it says here in the article. And I believe the coach supported the team And in the article, he said it wasn't really about, trying to get the guy, the president fired or whatever. It was just about supporting his team, because he says he's like a father figure to them. So he wants to support them. He said his team was hurting, and so he wanted to support them. So I thought that was cool from the coach. Yeah. I think the coach has since stepped down for health reasons. And I think he actually had like legit reasons. I think it was just coincidental with the timing. But anyway, when let's see, when Wolf stepped down, he said he took full responsibility for the inaction that has occurred, and then he said it was his belief that if we stopped listening to each other, we didn't respond or react. He wanted to use his resignation to start to heal and start talking again. So that's all fine. Maybe he's blowing smoke. Maybe he's just trying to get out of the limelight. But here's like I said, the reason why I wanted to bring it up is because the guy stepped down. This actually happened, and who knows when or if it would have ever happened if the football team didn't do something, because the football team got this story into, national media. You know what I mean? Like, it became a big story when the football team got involved. And it's because people care about their football so much again. It's like another one of those things where football, it's like, why is racism and beating women not as important as football? I mean, those are two things that should just be eliminated from the face of the earth. They never will be, probably, but you'd like to think so. But football has to go on. So anyway, if the team didn't play their game against BYU, I think it would have been a cancellation fee that the school would have had to pay of $1 million.
What?
So you think
this is the world? You
don't think that had something to do with why they had to step down?
Right.
The football is, football runs schools. It's really crazy. But that's how it works. So I just wanted to bring that issue up and just say, it kind of makes you want to pose some questions too. Like, is this where, you'd like to hope they wouldn't try to manipulate it, or maybe they should manipulate the system. Who knows? The system isn't a good one in the NCAA. But it makes you wonder, is this where it's going to stop, or is it going to keep going from here as far as what a football team can do? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Right,
Just like that, they got to, two people to step down from their jobs. You think next they're going to say, hey, we want to get paid.
Right. Because like I said, especially because they're on TV.
Well, that's the thing. The school's going to have to pay $1 million cancellation fee if they don't play football. But if they just ask for meals, like there's all these stories about college football players. Should they get paid, or should they get, meals or free benefit, like any sort of benefits, or, whatever. It's like, well, I think their education's benefit, all that type of stuff. But nonetheless, it's still a debate, because clearly it brings in so much money that a cancellation fee is $1 million.
And that's just, that's a price set by them too. It's like that can't even be logical. Yeah. So one more note about the campus, just so you can kind of see where some of the problems might, be coming from. The undergraduate student body is 79% white. The African Americans make up roughly 8% of undergraduates, and the faculty is 70% white, with black representation just over 3%. So predominantly white university with a lot of racial tension going on. I think it's cool that, students, got together and tried to make some change happen, and they did. Yeah. If they really felt like that was the source of, their concerns not being heard, then good for them. That's cool. I said, that's just one thing. It'll be interesting to see if other football teams take note of how influential they can be. It's crazy. So that's the Missouri football story. Those are the 4 stories. And so we got a couple minutes. Real quick, do you want to play a game?
You want to play that game?
Nah, you ready to play the game?
You want to play that game?
Back in the game now.
Are you ready?
Let's play a game.
Let's play a game. All right, so we're not going to make necessarily a habit out of this, but, being creative all the time is difficult. So we're playing a game of Did Trump Say That Again? Did Donald Trump say that?
Cool, because I did horribly last time.
Well, we'll see how you do this time. All right. Number 1. My fingers are long and beautiful, as it has been well documented, are various other parts of my body.
I'm just going to say he didn't say that and be wrong about it.
He did
Wonderful.
Say that.
I'm so glad.
He actually said that. That was Donald Trump. All right, number 2. I'm a winner, but in America we've become losers, and we're losing to other countries of the world. We need to beat the world. We need to beat China.
I'm going to say he didn't say that.
You know, it's funny. He didn't say that exactly, but he has basically said all of those things. He doesn't. He hasn't actually said that one. No, I made that one up. Number 3. The beauty of me is that I'm very rich.
I'm going to say he didn't say that.
He actually did say that. He said that one. All right, we got 2 more.
All right. Off to a bad start.
This one's good. I know how to make things beautiful. I can make America beautiful. Have you seen my golf courses?
Oh, screw it. He said it. He said it.
No, he didn't say that. I made that one up. But again, I'm trying to sound like Trump here. So, in fairness to you, you're not as bad as your results.
Anybody else try this?
All right, that was 4 of them, right? We got 1 more. I'm not a schmuck. Even if the world goes to hell in a handbasket, I won't lose a penny.
I'm gonna say he didn't say that.
He did say that. You can't tell what he said or didn't say. That's why it's so great. It's such a good game because you just have no freaking clue.
Dude,
it's not just you. It's just so funny.
That should be recurring for sure. It's like sinking in with Trump alone.
Did Trump say that? Man.
Well, I'm sorry, listeners, that I suck at this game, but hopefully you got something out of it. Good game, Kev.
A laugh at least, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
So that was the game. That was strictly hip hop. Those were the stories. That was basically episode 3 of the Basket Cases podcast. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Wanted to encourage you to reach out to the show. I really appreciate how many people have listened to the first couple episodes. It really has blown me away. I really appreciate the support from everybody. It's pretty cool. It's super fun. It's something new to do. It's a lot of work, but it keeps my blood flowing.
Oh yeah.
So I want to encourage you to reach out to the show. Again, the email address is basketcasesla@basketcasespodcast.com. You can hit us up on Twitter @basketcasesla. We're on YouTube. We're on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/basket-cases-podcast. And where else are we? YouTube, Facebook, SoundCloud, Twitter. The email basketcasespodcast.com. Y'all can check
all that junk.
The website as well. So if you got anything you want to discuss, whether it be Lakers or just you want to just shoot the breeze on some NBA topics, you got an opinion about any of our opinions or things we said today, bring it on. We'd love to hear from you, and I will bring it up. I'll even say your name if you want on the show. Just
yes.
You can get your frustrations off of your chest like Zach did at halftime. He didn't, but that's good. He's jovial today.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no frustrations here.
Yeah.
Not at this moment.
We're all good. All right. So I just want to say thanks for listening one more time. Play the outro music to be official here.
Oh, yeah.
Has anybody noticed that this song is, called Basket Case?
I hope so. Otherwise,
it is, just in case you didn't know. Anyway, I'm going to say goodbye. Thanks for listening so much. We'll be back next week with another brand new episode for y'all to vibe with.
Oh, yeah. Remember, you're just a basket case.
Signing off. See you next week, everybody. Thanks for listening.